back. Episode number 8 of the Shutdown Inning Podcast. I'm Steven Rissotto, getting ready for the holiday season. Tylor Hall is here too. Tylor, how you doing?
Hey, everybody. Doing good. How are you doing, Steven?
I'm doing good. We just put the Christmas tree up the other day, and the holiday season is in the air. So I
Are
think I'm
you are
doing
you
pretty
done
good.
Christmas? How are you on Christmas shopping? Have you even started yet?
A few more things to get. A few more things to
Yeah.
get, but probably halfway done.
I
So
feel
it's
like you
just
get like everyone in your family a book every year.
my uncles, because they're like big sports guys. Although last year my uncle, he works at a butcher shop that Ricky Henderson goes to, and like every once in a while he comes in and he's the one that helps Ricky. So last year I came up with this genius idea to get him this plaque of Ricky Henderson. And I guess he came in like a few weeks ago and Ricky signed it finally. So almost a
Nice.
year after I gave it to him. And then the book came out by Howard Bryant, the Ricky book. I gave it to him. So I have done the book thing in the past, but this year trying to do something a little different.
Does he
So
come in? He's like, Ricky wants a tri-tip.
that would be awesome. That would be awesome. And of course, we're joined also by a guest, as you probably see when you clicked on this podcast. It is Jared Timms, and Jared is awesome. He covers all things baseball and covers all things Angels for Talkin Halos podcast, and he's kind enough to join us here. Jared, how you doing? Happy holidays. What's going on?
Happy holidays. Fantastic to join you. As always, great talking with you, Steven. And like I said before, I haven't met you, Tyler, but fantastic meeting. I'm excited to talk some baseball, man. A lot of big things happening. 'Tis the season too.
Absolutely.
Tis
Happy
to say-
holidays. Happy hot stove season.
Right?
Oh gosh, the hot
Great
stove
time
is
of the year.
boiling. It's boiling, guys. Like, I mean, it is like the
Everywhere
amount-
but San Francisco. But yes.
That's true. Everywhere, like there's these big deals going on and a lot of money being spent. And we were saying beforehand that we haven't talked in a week about, and there's like stuff that has just filled the plate in terms of things that we have to like briefly touch on. So I guess the big one was Judge. Obviously the Giants missing out on Judge. We've talked about Judge. Jared so many times on this podcast. So
Yeah, now that he's not with the Giants, I'm kind of glad that like we can talk about him now signing with the Yankees and just be done with it. Like, all right, he's gone.
yeah. So he gets reported what was it, 9 years, 360 million.
360. Yeah.
Any
so
reaction?
as someone who's not a Giants fan, Jared, what was your thought the whole time? Did you always feel like he was going to go back to New York? Did you ever feel like he was going to maybe move?
Honestly, I was not sure. It was a coin flip the entire time. It didn't feel like he ever wanted to leave New York, to be honest. But you never knew. There was never any for sure like he wants to go back to New York. And I mean, you can never trust anything that comes out on the internet with any big players. Even with guys that have check marks, unless it's even Jeff Passan. So, but yeah, it was fascinating. And honestly, I texted the co-host of Talkin Halos, Nate, and I was like, the Giants kind of are pulling Angels and just coming in second in everybody, it seems like right now. So I'm sorry, but like you get a taste of the Angels organization as well. So
I mean, well, the Giants have actually come in second for like a few years now. They came in second on Harper. I believe they came in second on Ohtani. They've
Stanton, Greinke, Lester. The list goes on. I mean,
sounds like the Angels. To be honest, it sounds exactly like the Angels. I mean, Trout
Cole.
and Ohtani have been nice, but you had Garrett Cole. Not too many people know Carlos Correa last year. They came in second on. They offered Seager. I mean, it's been so many years in, years out. I mean, the pitching market was just brutal for the Angels for so many years. So yeah, it's I guess you guys know how it feels.
I feel like if you could combine the Angels and the Giants, because the Giants never have a problem getting pitching, the Angels never have problems with their offense or attracting bats. Let's just combine these teams, I guess. I don't know.
I will happily take Farhan.
Oh, we'll tell that to all the Giants fans that are saying otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our audience is Giants fans, and Farhan is kind of losing some steam right now. So
I'm clipping that. I'm clipping that.
What are your thoughts on Farhan?
I love him. I love everything that he does. Funny story. I saw Walker Buehler's first start. The entire Dodgers organization was there. I had no idea they were sitting in front of me. Come to find out, it was Friedman, Farhan, all these guys sitting right in front of me watching Walker Buehler's first start in the minors. Side note there, but I love, when you're able to go from successful team to creating another successful team and doing what the Giants did. It's just kind of a testament to what about baseball, and sometimes the numbers play. So yeah, hold in there, guys. If you're Giants fans, I love the Mania signing as well. I was one of the guys on my list. It was like, this guy's probably gonna have a little bit of a bounce back year. So and Giants have done a fantastic job of producing pitching.
Yeah, I think with Farhan, I think a lot of it is just, he's taking the blame because they've been unable to land the big fish. But I mean, at that point, the money's there regardless. It's just guys choosing to go elsewhere. It's like out of Farhan's control, at least in my mind. And I feel like every move he makes, even if it's like very tiny, it's like an incremental upgrade. He'll DFA a guy he just picked up last week to pick up a new guy because he sees it as an improvement. So I always feel like what he's doing is improving the team. It might not be in the grand steps that like Giants fans hope for, but I've always kind of compared him to, like, have you ever seen that show where like you start with a paper clip and then you trade that for like a ball of yarn, and then you trade the ball of yarn for a toy car? He's just kind of always building.
There's an app that does that, by the way. I used to have a JV baseball coach who started out with like I forget what he started off as, but at one point he was bringing a surfboard to school, and then I was like, "What are you doing with that?" Then he's like, "I'm trading it for a scooter. I'm hoping to get a car in 6 months." I was like, "Gosh," but yeah, no, that's a good representation of Farhan. But yeah, I mean the Judge thing, yeah, that happened, and then we saw Xander Bogaerts get just this massive 11-year deal. What was it, like 286 million? I mean, that was
like 280-ish. Yeah,
that was wild to me too. And I guess they don't really see Tatis as a long-term fit at shortstop. Did you guys have any thoughts on that one? Because that to me was the big eyebrow raiser when I saw some of the deals that were
I was
reported.
surprised how long it was, how long the contract was, how much it was, and partially that it was the Padres. I mean, how many $30 million bats are they going to put in one lineup and then still fill out the rest of their roster? What were your thoughts, Jared?
I thought the exact same thing. Well, it wasn't surprising that they went out and got him. It was the amount of years, and then also the money that they gave up as well. I mean, what do you do with Tatis down the road? You what are you going to do with Juan Soto? What are you going to do? They have a lot of big contracts still, so it's really, really interesting. However, if we're talking about them winning the last game in October, it doesn't matter, So
I took it as kind of their sign that they're gonna ride through the next 2 years with Soto, and then he's gone. I mean, especially he's gonna get like a $400 or $500 million deal. Tatis, Machado, and Bogaerts, I think they're all there for at least 11 years, or I guess Machado will be 8.
He could opt out after this year, right?
Yeah. I don't know why he would. Making $30 million to live in San Diego and play on a stacked team sounds pretty nice. But I kind of took that as, they're going to try to see what they can do for the next 2 years with Soto.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued. I mean, granted, we're going to continue to see the salary cap, whatever the Mets are doing. I know we'll probably talk about them, but the salary cap continue to rise. So I don't know what it's going to look like down the road. So I mean, what is it? $27 million a year might not be too bad. However, it screams Albert Pujols all over again. Except you're getting a shortstop, so it's a little more athleticism. And you hopefully know the age of what Xander Bogaerts actually is.
Yeah, one thing that's weird is I feel like players are completely dominating. Like the players are winning this offseason where, they're getting these long deals that like DeGrom getting 5 with an option for a 6. Like most people are like, okay, he'll get like 3 120.
Rodon wants 6 or 7 years, and he's probably going to get it because he's in a great spot.
Yeah, he's the best pitcher left by far, and there's a lot of teams that could use him.
In a market that's already been established, by the way. Like he's great. He's in a great spot.
Yeah, Turner and Bogaerts both getting 11 years, and they're the 2 oldest shortstops. Swanson and Correa are the 2 youngest of the 4. It's just, I made a tweet like last week after some of these signings. I'm like, in the year like 2030, like 2/3 of Major League Baseball is going to be 35 or older, because all these guys are signing like year contracts that are going to carry them to like their late 30s, early 40s right now. It's insane.
Oh yeah, I mean, you look at it; it's gonna be really funny actually in 2030. I mean, we talk about like the Pujols the Pujols the Cano deal. It's gonna be, you know, Bogarts, Machado, Tatis, these guys who are all in their late, close to 40s probably. Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani is gonna get paid next year. I mean, it'll be really interesting to see what happens, what it looks like in 10 years. Like, it's just gonna be a complete lopsided everything again. So.
But yeah, I mean, it shows how hungry teams are to win right now. They know that they're, when you give a guy like 11 years, you're banking on the next 5, maybe 6, if you're lucky, being good. And then the back half just being a dumpster fire. Like, Padres fans are going to enjoy the next 4 or 5 years. And then, 2028, when they're paying Machado, Tatis, and Bogarts like a combined $100 million, they're going to be like, this sucks.
Yeah, and Pujols' name, by the way, was brought up a few times this offseason. I've heard it a lot compared to Judge, because I think they were the same age. Wasn't Pujols going into his age 32 season when he signed that deal with the Angels? It's like, and I think I heard somewhere where they were like, I wonder if Aaron Judge called Albert Pujols and asked for his advice. Like, no, he, just because it's kind of the same. I don't know. Did you like that Pujols deal, by the way, Jared? Like, right when it happened, or
no? young Jared absolutely loved it. You look at it you look at it now and what I've learned, absolutely not. Especially with if you look at his years, like age 30, 31, and I want to say it was probably 32 with St. Louis, leading up to the big contract, it was like decrease and decline. So at the time, I'll let you know exactly what I did. I was in high school and I ran around the school flipping people off and saying the Angels are going to go win 2, 5, 6, 7 World Series. And also one of the teachers that I had was grounds crew at Angel Stadium, and it was like, this is monumental. So at the time, young Jared absolutely loved it. Now I wouldn't give that contract to somebody. I would give it to Correa though.
Oh, I mean, that's the thing, though. If you want to be competitive, you're going to have to hand out at least 1 or 2 of these deals if you want to have like a marquee superstar. Because, right now, pretty much some guys get like that early, like the Acuna deal where he got locked up a little early for, team friendly. But he'll hit free agency in like his early 30s, I think. But, these guys are only getting one major payday. And so, it's happened, the Giants, had to like, pay some guys early that they didn't want to, for example, or not necessarily didn't want to, but these guys are only going to get one big payday, and they're going to go. All it takes is one team to give them that money, and like I said, you're going to get them for like that 5 or 6 really solid years, and then they're going to fall off. So it's interesting. Some people are like
doing business.
So I've seen people on Twitter just say, "Oh, well, they need to let guys hit free agency earlier," and it's like, well, that's not going to happen. That's never going to happen. Baseball's been around too. Like, the union's too strong. Players are making a shit ton of money. Teams are making a lot of money. Like, they're not really worried about changing that anytime soon. So I wouldn't hold my breath as a baseball fan on that.
Especially after this offseason too. Money's just flowing everywhere, it seems like. So
I think it's like over $2 billion committed already.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, and like we just saw Chris Bassett just take a deal where it was 3 years, 86. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that was such a, he got $10 more million than Senga. I get he has the draft pick attached to him. And for a guy like Chris Bassett, who like is a borderline
2 years less than Senga too, though.
Yeah, that's true also. But like, for a guy like Bassett, who's like a borderline, like, do we give him the qualifying offer? Do we not? Like, kind of like Nate Eovaldi, like, is he going to get signed? It's all these question marks. But I mean, we have to focus on the Mets real quick, Jared. We want to ask you about the Mets. Steve Cohen bought a baseball team and has zero.
I wish he bought the Giants.
Has zero reservations about anything. Have you noticed that same thing?
Yeah, that what he is doing is unbelievable, and it scares living bejeebers out of me for what the Angel sales is going to be. And I'm hoping that somebody buys them like that, and that the MLB just lets them do whatever they want, like Cohen does, and Cohen doesn't do anything completely stupid, and blow it up so that nobody can do what what he's doing, because I would love the Angels to do this.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's
I
unbelievable.
mean, yeah, if you're a Mets fan, you have to be stoked that this guy owns your baseball team.
If you're the Mets GM, best job in baseball.
Ooh, Billy Epler is Billy's my guy, by the way. I love Billy Epler. I love everything he did in Anaheim. To flip the script though, have they gotten better this year? Have they gotten better this offseason, should I say, on paper?
That's a good point.
Like,
Because
they spent close to
I mean, they already
$400
had Nimmo, so that's like they're not better. They kept him.
Diaz.
Verlander for DeGrom. I mean,
DeGrom could be better if he's healthy. I mean, Verlander's
40. I mean, he could his arm could like fall off tomorrow. I'm not saying it will, but Senga. Yeah, I mean, Senga's a question mark. A lot of these guys that come over from overseas, they're a question mark until we see what they do. There's guys that people have been like, oh, he's going to be awesome, and then they are not. And then you get guys like Ichiro or Ohtani. So they're always a question mark. So like, I wish the Giants would have taken that. What was it? 575, 5 years, 75 million. I wish the Giants would have taken that lottery ticket for where they are. I think a lot of it, Jared's just and Steven's just going to be time will tell, but knowing that he's open to doing whatever, like the GM thinks makes their team better. And he's just like, yeah, here's the blank checkbook. Go have fun. I mean,
are they done yet?
He's actually making money. Is he making money too along with this? Like, is this, like the whole speculation behind, Manfred came out 800 times saying that baseball isn't a profitable investment. Is he making?
As each team is worth over $1 billion.
Right? Exactly.
I'm sure he's making some. I mean, he's so rich that he's like, I'll lose. Like, if you win a championship, you make so much money off of that run and the sales and the memorabilia and everything. And Cohen will be all right.
But it is good. It's like a breath of fresh air, isn't it, to see a billionaire? And Steve Cohen is worth like 15 billion or something like that. So it's like probably not a big deal to him. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. But it's great to see a billionaire buy a team and then not set limits with a $110 million payroll. Like, it's great. Like, finally, right? Finally, someone's doing this the right way. So
it's fun to see a baseball team run like almost like a passion project than a business. It's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of like when I'm not sure how old you are, Jared. I'm 38, so I've been around for a minute, but kind of like the late 90s Yankees where everyone just hated Steinbrenner because he was willing to spend when other teams weren't. It kind of reminds me of that. I mean, they're blowing teams out of the water, whether they win a ring or not, we'll see, like we talked about. But I mean, if you're a Mets fan, you have to be stoked that at least this guy, he's personable. Like, he's awesome on social media. He'll like engage with fans on social media.
He is a fan.
Yeah, he's a fan who has a baseball team.
We're just giving Jared awesome. Like all these like hopes of what the next Angel owner's gonna be.
I've heard good things, so we'll see where that takes us.
Quick little spinoff, but like, have you heard is there any rumors on who might be interested in buying the Angels right now?
Name wise, no. There aren't too many names out there. I mean, you could go like there's always the Rams owner, of course, is always out there. The Clippers owner. I've heard that the Golden State Warriors owner is also out there. So the joke about off the record why Angel Stadium might end up being Oracle Park at some point. I mean, obviously it's just a joke, but it'll be interesting. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how much it sells for too. I mean, $2 to $3 billion. It'll probably be the most expensive sale in sports team history, I would assume. Fairly close to what the Mets were.
Yeah, just like valuations of franchises are insane now. I think just funny that it got brought up again, but like Steinbrenner bought the Yankees for like $10 million in the 70s.
And that was probably a lot because it was the Yankees, very, it was a brand back then. It's a brand today.
Yeah.
Imagine
that's
buying
where it's usually it's like a group now. Like the Giants aren't owned by like one guy. It's a group because like these franchises are worth so much now that it's hard to find one guy who can do it.
Maybe A-Rod gets involved.
I'll get my hopes up. That's another guy that I absolutely love. I'd love to see A-Rod get involved as that like Magic Johnson type figure.
Yeah. Maybe he could. I know he's with the Timberwolves right now, but Maybe he does get into the baseball scene. What was I gonna? Oh yeah, we saw a trade today. I mean, Sean Murphy got traded to. I guess when we're recording this, Sean Murphy got traded to the Atlanta Braves. It was a 3-team deal with the A's, the Brewers, and the Braves involved. I guess the other notable name was that William Contreras went to the Brew Crew.
Who immediately tweeted like 8 broken hearts that he got traded.
Do you guys have any like reaction to that? Because like the A's wanted a haul for Murphy. I guess Jared will hit you there first. I know it's a little bit of a head scratcher because I myself don't know about Sean Murphy that much. So
I think the Braves just stole Sean Murphy. I mean, they didn't really give up. They gave up Contreras, yeah, and then the Brewers also didn't give up that much to get Contreras. So I don't know what the A's are doing, to be honest. When you look at that trade, that's a tough trade for me to understand. What the A's are doing, but the A's somehow were good for like 5 straight years, and they were supposed to win 60 games every single one of those years. So you can never doubt what those guys are doing there. It's crazy to me.
Well, I mean, I saw a thing right before we got on. I don't know if I sent it to you, Steven, but like that from their 2001 opening day or 2021 opening day roster, the only guy left is Laureano.
wow, he's probably next too.
Oh yeah, and he's on the market too. So I mean, imagine like 2 years, like within 2 years, your whole opening day starting lineup gone. Like
that's insane.
They're going to be in a good spot though when they move to Vegas.
To Vegas,
if that ever happens. But yeah,
it's happening.
That's what
really,
they're trying to do, I think.
Real good farm system, and then to have money. Yeah, that'll be
so
fun.
The 2021 A's starting lineup: Sean Murphy traded, Matt Olson traded, Josh Harrison left in free agency, Matt Chapman traded, Elvis Andrus DFA'd, Starling Marte left in free agency, Ramon Laureano still there, Mark Canha left in free agency, and Chad Pinder's currently a free agent.
Some of those guys aren't bad players too. Canha got a good payday there. I mean,
most of them, like Jared said, the A's are like a sneaky team where they can be good, where you look at it and they're like, they're not going to be good, but like that's a solid lineup.
It's a sneaky good division in general. So, I mean,
however, the A's are probably going to win 40 games next year.
Oh,
I wouldn't. You really think so? I mean,
it's going to be rough.
I'd have to look at their lineup. I know I went to an Angels game late in the season, and I was like, I might be able to tell you like half of this lineup and who it actually is. I had no clue. Like I saw Soderstrom on there, and other than that, I was like, I don't know these guys. I feel
so bad for A's fans, and like I don't say that like to be a dick Giants fan. Like I've gone to A's games. I have friends who are A's fans, and I'm just like, we got to keep the team here. But then like basically like before last season was when that whole roster turnover started, and they were just like, we're running this thing into the ground. Remind me, I'm in Sacramento now. I was down in the Bay for about a decade. It reminded me of the Kings when the Maloofs were trying to move the Kings out of Sacramento, and they just stopped putting money in the team, stopped putting money into Arco. They're like, we're out of here. And then luckily Vivek came in and saved them. Like it's going to take like a white knight like Vivek for the Kings to keep the A's in Oakland. Like they're done. Like, and I like, they're just giving the fans nothing to be excited about. Like you're going to go out to Oakland and to a ballpark that they don't put any. I just feel bad. I don't even want to finish this thought just because it just makes me bummed. Because like growing up, I would go to A's and Giants games. Like I would go see Ricky and Jose and Mark McGuire because like you could just drive. Me and my dad could drive half the way down, get on BART, and get to the Coliseum, where like there was no public transit from Sacramento to get you to Candlestick. So even though I was a Giants fan, I went to a lot of A's games. And so, a little bit of my heart, like I still want the A's to stay. Like the Bay Area baseball scene is fun with both teams. It's just sad. It's any team. It just sucks when your owners just run it into the ground.
Dane. Anything to add on that, Jared? I know it's Tyler got on an emotional.
Sorry. It just sucks, man.
No, I mean, it'll be interesting.
I'm sure as an Angels fan, you're like, sweet, we got, 12 games a year against this team.
Yes, definitely. But at the same time, I mean, you just never know what the A's have in store. But yeah, what's their salary going to be opening day? Like
$50 million.
$20 million. Like who are they spending any money on?
Yeah,
That's
well,
a
I mean,
good question.
I guess, to kind of transition to our next thought and kind of tie this all together, like the Mets payroll now, their luxury tax penalty is like 80 something million right now, and that's more than like 6 or 7 teams. Of course, the A's being one of them, but like their salary penalty is going to be more than whole teams' payrolls.
That's stupid.
So
Good
I
for the
wish
Mets. Good for the Mets though.
Yeah, awesome if you're a Mets fan. And speaking kind of what I mentioned earlier, like people are like, oh, like let these guys hit free agency earlier, and that's not going to happen. I think what would really help baseball that I know would never happen, so I'm not like expecting it, would be like a salary floor and a salary ceiling, especially with like the revenue sharing. Make these like when they say like when we said earlier how Manfred said that like owning a baseball team is not a profitable, that's bullshit. Like these teams that aren't paying salaries, like they're making a ton of money off of revenue sharing and they're just not reinvesting it into their
Who would have an
rosters.
issue with a salary floor? Like, would anybody like if you have an issue, sell the team, right? Like, does that make sense?
The players union isn't going to like it because part of having a floor is also going to be a ceiling. And you got guys you got Judge signing 360 right now to kind of transition to the next guys to sign. Correa is probably going to he might get more than that, maybe not annual value, but he might get a larger deal than Judge.
Yeah. What do you guys think that Correa gets? Because I'm interested.
It'll be interesting.
I mean, I could see him breaking like we said, Turner and Bogart's got 11. He's got Scott Boras, he'll let him wait until January or February to sign. So I could see him getting like a 12-year, maybe near 400 million. That might not be out of the question.
Yeah, I think 12 for 420 is 35 a year.
Yeah.
That's not out of the question. I think that, the more years you go up, you'd have to assume that AAV goes down. So what is it? 12 for, what is 12 times 30? I don't know what that would be, but that's probably
12 times 30 would be 360.
Yeah, 12 for 360-ish in that area.
Yeah, and that's right at where Judge was too. So, I mean, that's why you're never going to get a ceiling or a floor, because then you have a ceiling and then you're not going to have teams giving away this much money as well.
And like he's young enough too to where like I could see, and Brooks brought up our buddy from Giants Chatter brought up a really good point about, kind of what Machado did, or sorry, kind of what Arenado did, with Arenado's contract with the Rockies, because Arenado had an opt out that he did not exercise, and who knows what he would get in the open market this year, but I think, Correa is young enough to where he could opt out in 3 years. That's obviously still, gambling on yourself. Do you expect to get a deal like you're going to get at 28 at 31? So it's a bit of a question mark there, but like, who are the suitors for him though? Like the Twins, the Cubs,
the Giants,
the Giants and Cubs are going to bully the Twins financially, like big time. Yeah. So I don't know where he ends up. Probably.
I think the Giants are going to back up the Brinks truck. Like they need to sign someone. Like Jared, I'm not sure like how closely you follow the Giants, but like this has been the offseason that Giants fans have been like waiting on for, what do you think, Steven? Like 5-6 years. Like all the money's going to be off the books. Look at this free agent class. Like if they come out of this and it's like, we got Mitch Haniger and Andrew Benintendi and Sean Manaea. Like attendance was already down. Like they had their lowest attendance this year than any year in the ballpark's history. If this was the offseason we've all been waiting for, and they give, and I like Haniger, I like Manaea, I like Benintendi if he's the second outfielder, but like that's not gonna excite people to come out to the ballpark. So that's why I think Correa will go to the Giants. I think it's going to be for way more than any of us would want him to sign for. But like I said, right now that's the cost of doing business if you want to be a winning Major League Baseball team.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't let the Dodgers get him either.
Well, they've already said they're not going after him. I don't know if that's just like a smoke screen, but
we'll see. We'll see about that.
I think Swanson's going to the Dodgers.
I think Swanson's going to Anaheim.
Oh, are they in the market for a shortstop?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. definitely. They're going to get a shortstop, whether it's via the trade market or one of these two guys. It wouldn't surprise me. They're in the mix for Correa as well. I don't know if they're going to spend the money to go get Correa, but I could definitely see Swanson at like 20 to 25 a year. So let's say 23 a year, in that range for sure.
What do you like about Swanson? Like what? Because like Swanson, like he's mentioned with those 4 guys that were free agents this year, but he seems to be that 4th guy that people mention. And for me, I wouldn't put him on the same level as Bogarts, Correa, and Turner. But at the same time, I could see his appeal. You know, had some good power years recently. He plays every day. He plays great defense. Like, why would he be a better fit for a team than Correa? Like, not just the Angels, but in general.
He's consistent. You know, he's that guy who he doesn't need to go be a superstar either. That's why I think he fits the Angels so well. Not just because Perry Minasian was in Atlanta before,
That's
but
right.
The Angels don't need that star. I mean, it's not a bad thing to go get a star for sure, but they don't need that guy to go be a star. They need their floor to be higher, and Swanson raises that floor. They need a consistent shortstop. Angels fans don't want Andrew Velasquez running out there with a 25 WRC plus playing really good defense. You know, they want that guy who's going to be consistent, and they want that guy who's, you know, going to be there for 160 games a year. I think I saw a stat where he's played out of the last 516 games at shortstop for the Braves, he's played 502 of them or something like that, something crazy. So, I mean, you're looking for a consistent shortstop. That's probably your best bet. I mean, even over Correa, who's been hurt a little bit, and you know, he's kind of Swanson's kind of like, yes, he's that backup that everybody, you know, the backup option to Correa and the big 3, but it's still not a bad option, and he's going to cost you what, 20 to 25 a year, which isn't horrible for, again, the guy who's arguably a starting shortstop, arguably an all-star shortstop as well, when it's all said and done. So
yeah, I mean, I think, you know, if you're like starting a team from scratch and like there's no money and you're just like, who would you rather have? Like most teams would probably go Correa. But like Jared was saying, it's not always like not every team is looking for a superstar. If you're just like, hey, we need a consistent guy who's going to perform for us and give us some steady production for the next, you know, however many years, it's the teams like that. They're going to be like, okay, well, we'll go to, that's why I think, you know, that's why a team like the Dodgers, I'm kind of believe them when they say like they're out on Correa, but they might be in on Swanson. Like they already have Freeman and Betts, you know, all these other guys. So like a Swanson would be like a perfect fit. And that's similar for the Angels. I feel like when you have Trout, hopefully Rendon will be healthy one of these years, Ohtani in the lineup. So, I mean, you know, if you already have like 3 or 4 studs in the lineup, and Swanson could be like your 5th or 4th or 5th best hitter in the lineup, that's awesome. That's all you need from him. Go out there, play solid shortstop, play 155 games a year or whatever, and let's do it. So that's why I think, you know, some teams would be out on Correa but in on Swanson.
Or if you're the Cubs, you go get both of them, like they were talking about doing with with a bunch of guys before. So
Cubs keep acting like a small market team. It's kind of ridiculous at this point. They got to start spending money. I know that, you know, I think they overvalued Marcus Stroman a little bit. You know, they went and got Marcus Stroman, was that last offseason, and I don't even think he's a top end rotation guy. But yeah, no, I don't know. Cubs need to start spending money there. Who else is on? Carlos Rodon is kind of that last big pitcher on the market. I know we kind of like mentioned him in passing.
Like, so, yeah, I mean, we talked about Bassett signed. I think Walker is signed. Like, who after Rodon? Who is the next best pitcher available now?
Noah Syndergaard.
Yeah, I mean,
might be.
Yeah, that's a drop off. It's kind of he's in like the Correa seat, but for arms right now. It's like, okay, if you don't get me, who are you going to get? And he's just kind of sitting back, like, you know, when he became a free agent and Giants fans are like, oh, okay, maybe he'll go like 4 or 5 years, so maybe the Giants will do it. Now he's talking like Steven said earlier, he's looking for 6 or 7 years,
and he's probably gonna get it because someone will do it in this market.
Like I said, it just takes one team, and someone's going to do it in this market. Someone's going to be starved for front of the rotation. I think I said it last week. It was always funny to me where people were talking about, you know, health issues for like Verlander or for DeGrom. And it's like, yeah, they missed some time, but like, have you paid attention to how much time Rodon has missed earlier in his career?
Yeah.
Didn't he get DFA'd at one point too? Or am I thinking of somebody else? I feel like the White Sox DFA'd him.
It sounds about right. I wouldn't be
Not
shocked.
maybe they non-tendered him. That could have been it.
Non-tendered, yes.
They might have
brought him
non-tendered
back.
and brought him back on some type of short-term deal. But
Yeah.
regardless, it's impressive with what he's done. But yeah, that's a scary arm. That's like, oh, Nathan Eovaldi's probably that next big arm, by the way. I just thought about that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's very similar to what Eovaldi was a couple years back when the Red Sox signed him. I was like, two Tommy Johns, I want no part of Eovaldi, and here he is healthy again, looking for another big contract.
Yeah, I think he'll get that 6 because again, he's in a perfect spot because like, you're gonna turn to Evaldi, so he's kind of a wild card with everything that he's gone through the last few years. So, but so is Rodon. I think health. If you worry about health too much with these guys, then you're eventually gonna run out of options, and you're gonna be stuck with the Noah Syndergaards, but Syndergaard has health. There's a question there, I guess. But I know he had Tommy John a while ago, and now he's been back.
I think there's some teams lying in the weeds right now that you're not really hearing about that are linked to a lot of these last few final guys. They're gonna hop in like Cardinals. I think the Yankees, like most people thought, oh, they got Judge back, they're done. But I think the Steinbrenners are gonna be like kind of not necessarily pissed off, but like worried about the Mets like being like, catching these headlines in New York. It's probably like the one market where it's like the headlines are almost as important as the standings. And so like, are they going to just, they're going to be like, hey, they're spending. Why aren't, Yankees fans would be like, the Mets are spending. Why aren't you spending? I could see them going after a Rodon or jumping in after a Correa. Or maybe they bring Benintendi back too. Like, who knows? But, it's also weird to me that the Dodgers haven't really signed a big guy. They lost Trey Turner. I've heard some things, and this might transition to something we're going to talk about in a bit, but maybe they're just like, our team won 111 games. We can lose a Turner, still be good, and then throw who knows how much money at Shohei Ohtani next year. But it's just weird to me that the Dodgers haven't done a lot when they can do basically whatever the hell they want. What do you guys think?
You never know with the Dodgers. Again, I mean, haven't won a World Series since '84, so I'm going to say that for you, Giants.
I like this guy.
What happened to '88?
Was it '88? I don't know. Whatever it was.
88.
Whatever it was.
I thought like there was something wrong with '88 where like, Kirk Gibson was like actually on steroids, and now people don't count that for whatever reason.
No,
actually, my favorite part of that Kirk Gibson home run, it's just to go on a little tangent, is like as the ball's going over the fence, you can see the tail lights,
the brake
of the
lights
cars of all the fans that were already leaving a freaking World Series game because they were losing by a run or two.
So is that not just the Giants thing, Jared? Do like other people have that interpretation of Dodger fans, like to get there in the third and leave in the seventh?
100%. I've been to Dodger games like that before where there's nobody there in the first, second, third innings and it's packed. And then it's like that in Anaheim too, where fans won't show up until, I don't know, the third inning and then leave in the sixth or something like that. Kills me. Absolutely kills me. I get it at Dodger games though. You're trying to leave with 55,000 people and there are 2 exits at Dodger Stadium. That's tough. I'll say that if no one's ever been there.
Yeah. No, I guess we could should we hit the winners or losers first, Tyler, or should we do some Ohtani? Because I know that there's what do you think?
We just talked Ohtani, so yeah, let's
do it.
Let's close that loop up.
And Jared's got a smile on his face. So yeah, Ohtani, I mean, there's so much to say about him, right? He's put 2 straight years of, I mean, if Aaron Judge didn't exist and put up a 200 OPS plus season, then Shohei Ohtani's your American League MVP, and there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, so, I mean, this year he was basically like Matt Olson and Max Scherzer in one person.
Good God. I mean, he's amazing. And, he's slated to get paid. I keep hearing $450 being thrown out there. What do you think the Angels, like, how do you think they operate this with new ownership and such? And
how old is Ohtani? Let me just ask that. Sorry, I don't know off the top of my head.
I don't know off the top of my head either, but I'm going to say close to 27, 28 right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. Like, what do they do with him? What do you think?
I think they're going to let him walk. I think they missed their opportunity to trade him. And I don't think that the Angels have proven that they want to win, especially this offseason, to prove to him enough that he's gonna stay.
He's
wants
kind
to
of said he wants to win, right?
He wants to win. It's kind of like that Senga thing too. It felt like Senga wanted to win. It didn't really care about the money. I've talked about it a lot, or me and my Nate have talked about it a lot on Talkin Halos. It's a cultural thing, A lot of those guys that come over from Japan want to win at the highest level, not just in Japan. So
good point.
Ichiro's that same way. Ichiro never went out and took that big contract that everybody was expecting. He's pretty loyal in Seattle, and he wanted to win in Seattle. That being said, Shohei may want to win in Anaheim. He might just want to go win. So I think the Angels have missed their chance to trade him. I thought that was this last trade deadline where they should have went out and traded him to whoever didn't get Juan Soto, and gotten basically the same haul that Juan Soto got. That doesn't mean that they're not going to trade him this upcoming deadline if they're 15 games out of the trade deadline, or out of the West, and 10 games out of a wild card spot. So it'll be very interesting to see what the new owner wants to do as well, and how deep his pockets are. Because Ohtani doesn't just bring good baseball. He doesn't just bring the hitting and the pitching. He brings over the entire nation of Japan as well, and all of the money that comes with that too. So that's what makes him so incredibly difficult to value too. Is like we saw. You could say
he's like one of those guys, no matter what you pay him, like you're probably going to make a lot of that money back.
Yeah, it's Mike Trout. It's going to be very similar, I think, to a Mike Trout contract.
I went to Ohtani's first start as a pitcher in his major league career. It was in Oakland. It was Easter Day. I guess it would have been 2018. Does that sound about right? Easter 2018. Yeah. The bullpens in Oakland, I'm sure, I think both of you guys have been there, or down the foul lines. The media, just to watch him warm up, was like 30 people deep down the right field line. It was insane. I was sitting in the right field bleacher, so I had like the perfect view of it. But yeah, he's amazing. And like you said, it's not just he's a good pitcher and a good hitter. Like, you're gonna make New Jersey sales, promotions, whatever.
Everything.
He's
gonna get you that money back. Like,
absolutely. And he has a loyal fan base too. The first time that I ever brought up, and we were some of the first people saying trade Ohtani, because of a laundry list of things that we don't like that are associated with Shohei Ohtani. It's hard to build a pitching staff. You can't DH anybody with an aging Mike Trout and an aging Rendon and other guys who need days off. It's very hard to DH somebody with him. But when we did say trade him, that loyal fan base struck back hard on us, real hard. I'll say that. So yeah, it's it'll be really interesting to see what comes coming in July. Because if the Angels aren't contending, it's going to be who wants Shohei Ohtani, and what's the price going to be? Because then they have another 6 months. They have
is
4.
He a Boris client?
No, I'm not sure who he is, but
whoever his agent is stoked right now watching all these deals, because next year's free agent class, it's basically like Devers and him.
That's it.
Devers and Ohtani. That's like it.
You mentioned a really interesting thing there, Jared. I want to get back to real quick. 6-man rotation. Do you think is there a shot that he could like fit in a 5-man rotation? Like, is that ever a possibility, do you think?
Yeah, that's always been something that's been thrown around there, and it's always something that people have corrected me on. It's like they can always go to a 5-man rotation. I'm not sure why the Angels have never gone to a 5-man rotation. It's been the building around that 6-man rotation and Shohei Ohtani going once a week. So that's one of the reasons why it's so difficult to build around him. He needs to be that final piece in the mix rather than trying to build around Shohei Ohtani. So I would assume that the Angels probably don't bring him back unless they go on and they show dramatic improvement, 90 plus games this next year.
So like, it's trade deadline time, 2023. How close to a playoff spot do the Angels have to be for you to be okay with them not trading Shohei Ohtani?
You need to be within 5 games of the wild card spot. And even then, you have to be able to say we're going to be buyers, not the half in, half out. Like, no,
we're going to just roll with what we have and hope we sneak in. Like, okay, we're keeping Shohei and we're making some moves to
Yeah, go get those smaller pieces. Like the Angels have done it before in the past. Rizzo, I think you're with me still.
Yeah.
The Angels have done it before in the past where they were 100+ game winners and they went out and got Shane Victorino at the deadline and they went out and got a reliever, and it was like, go get those big pieces. You have a chance to go win a World Series. You have one of the best records in baseball. So yeah, it'll be. I don't think the Angels have proven to Shohei Ohtani that they really want to go out and contend and win. And like this is the first thing I said about this offseason too. This was the worst possible season for Artie Moreno to sell the Angels, because you don't know what you're doing this offseason. Perry Minasian doesn't know, he doesn't have a cap. You don't know if you're bringing back Perry. You don't know if you're bringing back Phil Nevin. I mean, there are so many question marks with this team right now. It's crazy. So yeah, I fully expect him to be either traded in July or he'll be walking next year.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they have to be good. If not, they have to trade him. Like, you can't just like sputter to like 4th place in the AL West and then let Ohtani walk. Like,
yeah, again, good division.
And you'd hope if you were trying to bring back Ohtani, you'd assume that they'd have some type of dialogue this offseason as well, especially with Judge getting the money that he's gotten, because he's going to ask for something similar, if not a little bit more than that. 45 a year, so you'd assume that there is dialogue. But then again, things happen very quietly in Anaheim, so you never know.
And we've never seen a free agent like Ohtani. Like we don't know what that contract structure looks like because we've never seen it, because this guy contributes in so many different ways. He hits, he pitches. I mean, it's like, I know it's like cliche to say, oh, he's a hitter and a pitcher and he does both great. But like, this is the one time where like the cliche, like, we have to deal with the cliche in terms of negotiations, because like we have no idea what he's going to get. And I do think it's going to be north of 400 million because of those two things. But no, like you mentioned, I mean, that for me is going to be storyline right as the Angels show any sign of just like, not contending in 2023. So
it's gonna be the storyline all year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then we figured that we'd end it here on some winners and losers, I guess, of the offseason thus far. It's not a completed offseason. I actually think that the trade market's going to start to heat up a little bit. I think the Murphy move was the first big trade of the offseason. I know Teoscar Hernandez got traded, big deal, but no knock on Teoscar. But I mean, Brian Reynolds, we're going to see some names, get thrown out there. And JP Morosi brought up.
I don't think Reynolds gets moved.
Wow.
I heard that the Pirates are looking for. I heard the Pirates are looking for a Soto-like package for Brian Reynolds.
That can't be more apples and oranges in terms of comps. Good Lord. But
I saw that headline today. So, I mean,
yeah. Do we all agree though that the Mets are like winners? Like, is that, they have to be, right? Or no, Jared, you also said that they didn't get better, but like,
I never really had thought about it like Jared had mentioned. Like, did they really get better? I think that's an interesting way to look at it. I mean, they're winners might lose Swanson. But I mean, if you look at it as far as like, hey, they're out there, they're spending, they're trying to make their team better, whether they are or not. Like, yeah, Mets are winners. I think Aaron Judge is the winner of the offseason so far. He bet on himself. He made an extra $150 million on it. I was talking to Steven earlier, like his agents played this offseason perfectly. We're going to make it look okay. Like, we'll get video of him going into a hotel in San Francisco. He'll hang out there for a week or two. The Yankees are going to shit their pants. Hal Steinbrenner called Aaron Judge and said, "What do you need?" He told him what he wanted and he got it. Like, how do you win the offseason more than that?
Any winners or losers, Jared?
I mean, the Mets I think they have to be winners with the amount of people that they've lost and also added. Like, to lose that amount of players, but then also still be in the exact same spot that you were in last year, is not a bad situation. The Yankees bringing back Aaron Judge. I mean, you can't upset Yankee fans. That's I think the number one rule in baseball, or else you're in for a bad year. And then also bringing back Brian Cashman. That's a big one as well. And then the Padres, of course, somehow again going out and throwing more money It's kind of like my fantasy football team, just really four really good players, and then everybody else who's just kind of whatever. So,
yeah, I think the Padres thing will be like long term. It'll be interesting to see if they actually won or not. But I think for like the next couple of years, they definitely won. I think the Blue Jays have had a nice, quiet, like kind of below the radar off season where they've made their team a lot, not necessarily a lot better, but Bassett's a nice addition.
Tough rotation.
Kiermaier coming on where they don't, if you look at the rest of their bats, they don't need like a heavy hitting center field. Like throw him in center field, hit ninth, catch everything that gets hit in the air, have a good time.
And Kiermaier could still hit a little bit, especially with some of those parks and the American League East. And speaking of the East, I'll give you a loser because like I agree with you guys on the winners. I think those are pretty obvious at this point, but the Boston Red Sox, they are a loser for me because they have no direction at all. Missing out on Bogarts was huge. Like that's got to, what are you going to now pivot to Rafael Devers extension talks? No, like why would he want to stay there? So, and, especially with the lack of free agents, next offseason, like was mentioned, like that, which mentioned before, but I just don't see a direction for them. I know, Chris Sale at the top of the rotation who's thrown like 3 innings. It seems like he's thrown,
mark.
Yeah, 3 innings the past few. But I just don't have a direction for them. Like they want to be in on Correa. Like that's what everybody's thinking. But do they want to be in on Correa? In Correa, God. Forget it.
Keep it.
Yeah, they I gotta somebody take over. No, they're a loser for me.
The Giants are a loser for me if they don't get Correa. Like I said earlier, this has been the offseason that's been circled on all of our calendars for years. I mean, I don't know how they get better after this offseason because next year is Devers and Ohtani, like I said earlier. So they're kind of pigeonholing themselves to have to spend a ton of money next offseason, even if they get Correa right now. So, I mean, I feel like they're a loser.
And I feel like we could also go through like individual deals and say
like the Rangers are winners.
Are they though?
Yes.
They're sneaky. They're a sneaky good team right there. I'll say that.
I mean, I look at Bochy as an addition too.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But is Bochy there to, obviously I watched the DeGrom press conference and it was like the organization's looking up, but that's like all press conferences, right? And Bochy's like, we're going to try and win, the division and everything. And then you look and you go, God, Houston.
If you look at it though, I mean, we were talking about the Mets, like, did they really get better? I think the Rangers are a team like they didn't lose anybody and they added DeGrom.
That's fair.
They added Bochy, like, the kind of to call back on, my Giants fan, like the Giants have proven, I don't think that Rangers are necessarily going to win the division over the Astros, but the Giants have shown all you need is a ticket to the dance. You just need now there's more wild card spots than ever. I think the Rangers are a playoff team if they stay healthy for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're sneaky good there. Am I allowed to call the Dodgers losers? I feel like they've lost a lot. There are a lot of guys that aren't.
I love calling the Dodgers losers. I said it. I like this Jared guy. Let's.
I mean, Andrew Heaney, Tyler Anderson. We mentioned Justin Turner, Trey Turner. Big loss there. They brought back Kershaw, but yeah, I mean that's the Dodgers aren't. I mean, if they get Correa, it's a
Bellinger,
or you lose Bellinger. I mean.
Is Bellinger a loss though? Like we talked about it a lot, Steven. Like he's basically for the last 3 or 4 years, he's been like basically the worst hitter in baseball.
Well, he still leaves he's still a great defensive center, like a plus defensive outfielder. But I mean, you look at their outfield and who do they have out there, right? Trace Thompson. Like I know he had a great year last year and probably a good find, but yeah, Mookie. Aside from Mookie, like who's your left fielder? Like what's that guy's name? Outman or whatever? Josh Outman or Out?
I guess as like. Chris Taylor become a outfielder every day?
I feel like he's better moving around and filling in for guys when they need days off. I don't know. I agree with Jared. I do think
I agree. Dodgers are losers, though. I'll say that every day.
I'll clip it. Oh gosh.
But yeah, I mean, it's been there's like we said, there's a couple big pieces out there, so it's hard to fully say who's a winner and loser. I think there's some that already could stop and be winners. Yeah, so we'll see how it plays out.
And before we go into the rapid fire that we have for Jared, do you guys have any like hot takes like for the rest of the offseason? Because like I'll give a hot take right now about Rodon. Carlos Rodon signs with the St. Louis Cardinals and he gets a 7-year deal. I don't know if that's a hot take or just a legit prediction, but I'm gonna call it a hot take just for the purpose of this.
And
exercise.
by year 3, are Cardinals fans happy with that deal?
I don't know because he's recovering from Tommy John at that point. Ooh, sorry.
Shots fired. I don't know if I really have a hot take. I mean, I feel like
I put you guys on the spot.
I feel like the Giants are going to overspend for Correa. They've put themselves in this position.
Okay, so we're just going any take now. It doesn't have to be hot. Jared, what do you got?
I don't know if it's hot, but like, I mean, they're going to overspend, so that means the Dodgers don't really get a guy unless they go after Swanson.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I think we know who's in on Correa. I think we know whoever's in on Correa is probably going to be in on Swanson. The next big contract, the next big deal is Nathan Eovaldi. I mean, I'm trying to think of a decently big trade. I mean, Brian Reynolds fetching a Juan Soto type of return would be pretty unbelievable. I'll say that, but you can never trust the Pirates in any type of trade situation with their trade history. I don't even care if there's a new owner and GM and everything there. So I don't have anything. I mean, the Pirates trade O'Neal Cruz in the Brian Reynolds deal. That's how they get any type of Juan Soto type package. That would be where I go. I don't know. I got nothing. I think it's been pretty. I think it's been a pretty, straightforward offseason, to be honest.
Yeah. As straightforward as you could get while spending $2 billion on players. So
yeah, I mean, we knew they were going to go out and spend a lot of money. So
yeah, fun times to be a Major League Baseball player. That's good. Getting paid. Generational wealth. Money. Yeah. All right, let's do the rapid fire.
All right. So we didn't do this with Jared's our second guest, as our dozens of listeners know. So we put this together for the first time. We're going to do a 5-question, some are sports related, some are not, Jared. We're going to call it the speedy shutdown since we're on the shutdown inning.
I like that.
I think
maybe immaculate inning.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like the immaculate inning would have to be 3 questions, and we're doing 5.
Oh,
we'll figure it out. We're gonna dial this in, but you're our guinea pig, Jared. Are you going first, Steven, I believe, or am I? I forget.
Yes, I'll go first. All right, here we go. Number 1: if you could trade places with any player in today's game, who would it be?
I'm gonna give 2 here. On the hitting side of things, Mike Trout, of course, that'd be so much fun to do what he does on a daily basis. And then number 2, somebody that I actually got a chance to interview, Ben Joyce. That'd be so much fun to throw 105 miles an hour. So those are my 2. Yeah.
Nice. Solid. I like it. All right. Question number 2, funniest movie of all time. Go.
Ooh, funniest movie. Jeez. I was gearing up for Moneyball. No, not Moneyball. I love, this is just like me being stupid, but I love Jackass 3D. I think that's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. And the fact that I saw it with my grandparents makes it even funnier for me.
So yeah, I haven't seen 3D yet. I'll have to go do that. I remember when I was Jackass 1 came out when I was a freshman in college, which ages me quite a bit. But yeah, okay, I'll have to go watch it. I'll see if I don't. Yeah, this also ages me. I don't have any grandparents left, so I won't do that either. But I'll go check it out.
You could bring your son.
Right, watch it with Hunter. All right. Question number 3, Jared. Any player you have not been able to see live, but if you could go back and see them live, who would it be?
Ooh, I'm a sucker for a pitcher's duel, so I want to say Pedro Martinez. I think that would be so much fun. If I saw him, it was when I was very young, and I know I went to I've been to Fenway, and I know the Red Sox have come to Anaheim, but I just don't remember. I know I've saw Roger Clemens, so I'm going to say Pedro Martinez.
Nice.
That's a good. Yeah, I was thinking he'd say Tim Salmon, but no, he's not.
That's not Tim Salmon.
There's like thinking back to like my younger days, like there's 2 pitchers where they were coming to town and I wanted to get there early to watch them warm up at Candlestick, and it was Pedro Martinez and Randy Johnson. So those are the 2 that I went straight to.
Yeah, I went with Pedro though because I think he's one of the best pitchers of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
Good answer. Good answer. Alrighty. Number 4. If you can have any superpower, what would it be? What would Jared Timms want to do? Like, if you had to play a superhero, what would be your superpower?
Oh, flying's cool and everything. I'm kind of scared of flying though, but if I could fly, that'd be cool. Invisibility would be cool as well. I'll just say like super strength though, kind of like the Superman type of thing. Yeah, super strength would be pretty cool. I'm pretty small, so
Popeye.
yeah,
Popeye.
yeah.
Maybe next episode, Steven, this is like new, we answer them next time when it's just the two of us, because I want to see what some of your answers are to these.
Just the whole thing of Speedy Shutdown, like the whole episode.
Yeah,
of Speedy
between
Shutdown?
the two of us. No, not the whole. We don't need 20 minutes of us talking about you wanting to. I don't even know what I want. I don't know what your superpower would be. All right, Jared. Question number 5, the last one. If you could do this doesn't have to be baseball related, but if you could do anything in sports, what would it be? It could be like dunking a basketball, running back a kickoff, or what would it be? Anything you could do.
Well, I used to be able to dunk, so there's that. I'm okay with that. Probably honestly, I never threw a perfect game. I threw a no-hitter, so I would love to throw a perfect game. That'd be my
what level did you throw a no-hitter at?
I threw no-hitter in college.
Oh
Nice.
man. That's awesome.
My young college, I played like 6-7 years of college because of COVID and everything. But yeah, my young college days, I threw a no-hitter, and that was pretty cool.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I have one more real quick. Like now, like knowing what you not playing, not necessarily an athletic achievement, but if you were to like work in baseball at any capacity, what would you want to be doing? Because I know you cover a lot of prospects. You're at minor league games and everything.
He'd want to be hosting Talking Halos.
Oh, that's good answer. Good answer.
What
would you want to be doing?
Yeah, hosted Talkin Halos. No, I love the scouting side of stuff. I that's why I love minor leagues. It has helped that the Angels have been bad, so to look forward to something, you cover the minor leagues. Scouting it would be absolutely unbelievable. I was a pitching coach after I pitched in college too, so I was a college pitching coach. I love to coach, but I love coaching at kind of a younger age. So. But I did, I worked with Garrett Cole. I worked with Walker Buehler. I worked with a lot of these guys, during the COVID year. I was able to do Rissotto for a lot of these guys, and it was really cool to see, what those guys look at. So I'd say, a professional pitching coach would be a lot of fun, though. I don't know how much those coaches actually do when you look at it. And then also I'd say a scout. I think scouting, a pro scout would be really cool.
Tyler, let's buy the Angels and then hire Jared as like our head scout.
All right, we'll put a solid 5-digit offer in on the Angels.
It's gonna be mostly you. I hate to tell you that. You're gonna have to do the majority of that.
I'll be a majority owner.
I got my article money from my game to game. Oh gosh.
Oh man,
Jared, no, dude, this was a blast. I appreciate you coming
Jared,
on.
we appreciate you coming on. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Love talking baseball. Anytime I can talk a little bit of baseball, it's a absolute blast.
Yeah, we'll be checking in on Ohtani throughout the year. We'll probably have some updates with him on this show, and now we know that we have an Angel guy.
We'll have you on at the trade deadline.
I love it. I just love talking baseball, guys. That's it right there. Just let me be in baseball the rest of my life.
Nice. Well, yeah, as we talked about earlier, we have multiple listeners. So if you could tell them, where they could find some more of your work. What are you doing? What do you want to plug?
Oh yeah, you can follow us on, actually you can follow myself. I'm not going to plug Talkin Halos all that much. You can follow myself at Jared_Timms on Twitter. Find me on Instagram as well. Like there's some stuff up there too. TalkinHalos.com. Check us out there. Follow Talkin Halos podcast. We talk a lot of Angels baseball and Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout. So
yeah, and there's nobody that likes my stuff more on Instagram than our pal Nate Green. So shout out to Nate Green. He's like my biggest liker on Instagram. So
yeah, get him on the show too. He's a great talk when it comes to coaching and such. So get him on here.
Awesome, baby. We'll have to do that for sure. All right, guys. And then, of course, the Shutdown Inning Podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at shutdown_inning. And happy holidays.
Find us on YouTube so you can look at Jared's handsome mug. You're probably sick of looking at me and Steven, but come see what Jared looks like. He's a handsome guy.
Yeah.
Happy holidays to everybody. We'll record one. I think we have one more episode before Christmas, Steven. So get that shopping done, my friend.
Let's do it. Yeah, shopping. Do all that fun stuff. And it's taken forever to wrap. So let's do it right now. Happy holidays and see you soon.